Good morning, everyone. Boker Tov. This Shabbat is Parshat Bamidbar. And Parshat Bamidbar, the section about the wilderness, always precedes the holiday of Shavuot. And this year, it's literally one day before Shavuot, because Sunday night will begin the holiday of Shavuot. And our rabbis say, what's the connection between the portion of Bamidbar, the story of the desert, and the Torah portion and the holiday of Shavuot? Now, obviously, the Torah was given in the desert. But beyond that, the message of the wilderness is related to Shavuot. You see, it's human nature in life to always say, you know what, I'm going to start that diet after the holidays. Or I'm going to start this new activity, this new hobby, after I do this or after I do that. You know, when I graduate, when I retire, when I get married, when I have children, we're always postponing and procrastinating. When the ideal circumstances arise, then I'll do it. Comes along the desert and teaches us, here the Jewish people are in a wilderness, a wasteland. They're traveling. It's a difficult journey. In addition to that, they haven't arrived at their destination yet, at the land of Israel. They could have easily said, you know what? We'll accept the Torah, we'll observe the commandments, we'll build a tabernacle. When we arrive in Israel, that will be the ideal environment, circumstances. Right now we're on a journey. We're in between Egypt and the land of Israel. Let's wait till we arrive. Along comes the Torah and says, no, precisely in the desert. God says, now's the time to take the Torah and observe it. Now's the time to build a sanctuary for God. Never wait for the perfect ideal moment. As it says in Ethics of Our Fathers, don't say when I have time I'll study Torah, because you may not have the time. Start now. Don't procrastinate. Don't delay. Every moment of life is precious. That's the lesson of Bamidbar as a prelude to receiving the Torah. But perhaps there's a deeper reason. And that is, you see, the Jewish people, after they got the Torah, they worshipped the golden calf. They committed the sin of idolatry. And then on top of that, they sent the spies into the land of Israel who came back with a negative report, and God said, you're going to have to wander for 40 years. The Jewish people could have been despondent. They could have despaired and given up hope and said, you know what? We're doomed. We failed. Why bother? But yet they persevered. And they said, you know what? We've made terrible mistakes, but we will continue to be the best we can. We will study the Torah. We will observe the mitzvot. And that's the message of Bamidbar as a prelude to Shavuot. Yes, sometimes we fall short in life. Sometimes we have disappointments, setbacks, but never give up that hope. Never stop striving for higher and for better. A remarkable story happened this past week. There's a Chabad rabbi in Frisco, Texas. His name is Rabbi Mendy Kesselman. And this non-Jewish man walks in to his Chabad house holding 2 pairs of tefillin. You know, the Chabad custom is that bar mitzvah boys start wearing 2 pairs. Rashi and Rabbeinu Tam, they were 2 great rabbis that had a disagreement how to arrange the boxes of the tefillin. Actually, Rashi was the grandfather of Rabbeinu Tam. They disagreed. The grandson disagreed with his grandfather. So some people don't put on 1 pair every morning. They put on 2 pairs, myself included, since I've been 13 years old. And this non-Jewish person walks in with a bag with 2 pairs of tefillin and a prayer book. And he says, Rabbi, I'm not Jewish, but my father died, and I was cleaning out his house, and I found this, and I could see it has Hebrew letters on it. The name of the person was written on Hebrew on the bag. He says, so I figured you're a synagogue. I looked up the local synagogue. I live here in Frisco, so I'm giving it to you. Maybe you could use it. The rabbi thanked him very much, and then he looked at the name, and he said to him, tell me, where did your father live? He said, oh, my father lived in L.A. So Rabbi Mendy Kesselman said to himself, well, I guess there's a L.A. connection here. So he has a brother who's a rabbi, Rabbi Moshe Kesselman, in L.A. So he picks up the phone, he says, Moshe, tell me, do you know, I have a name here. His name is Shmuel Raganiski. Do you know him? And his brother says, do I know him? I'm sitting right now with him. I'm giving a Torah class, and he's sitting right next to me in my Torah class. He says, ask him if he happens to have owned a pair of tefillin with his name on it, because I have it. He puts his Shmuel on the phone, and Shmuel says, you're not going to believe this. How did you get this? He says, some guy walked in and gave it to me. He said he found it in his father's apartment. He said his father was a taxi driver in Los Angeles, so I called my brother in Los Angeles. He says, you're not going to believe this. He says, it was my bar mitzvah coming up. My father went out and bought me 2 pairs of beautiful tefillin in a beautiful plastic bag with my Hebrew name on it, with a new prayer book. And a few days before my bar mitzvah, it was in the trunk of my father's car, and someone broke into the car and stole the tefillin. I was devastated. Right before my bar mitzvah, I was looking all over the neighborhood. I figured the thief maybe threw it in a dumpster. I was checking every garbage can in the neighborhood. And unfortunately, we never found it, and I had to buy a new pairs of tefillin. And I can't believe that 28 years later, you're holding my tefillin. And so they said, what must have happened was the thief, when he realized it was a religious article that he stole, he most probably was in a taxi and realized he didn't need it, so he left it in the taxi. This man's father was a taxi driver in Los Angeles, took it home when it was left by a passenger, didn't know what to do with it, and left it in his house. The son is cleaning up the apartment 28 years later and finds it. And it's returned to Shmuel Raganitsky 28 years later. Surely he despaired, thought he would never see his tefillin again. And he got them back brand new in mint condition. And this is the message: never give up, especially when it comes to doing a good deed. Even if you fail, even if you're disappointed, Hashem has his ways. And most remarkably, how when he calls his brother, he says, Shmuel is sitting right next to me. Yes, God arranges that if we are studying Torah as Shmuel was, he will be returned as the right to his mitzvos, to his bar mitzvah, to his tefillin, to everything that is good and righteous. Have a wonderful day.